Welcome to the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Larry Harold Jr. Brought to you by Advanced Rehab, Pristine Water, Bruce Kennedy Tire, Sinorama, and by the Copper Pig. Now here is your host, Mr. Brunswick High, Kipp Branch.
Welcome to the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Larry Harold on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm Kipp Branch on location at the Copper Pig, where we will be each and every week on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. for the entire season. This segment of the Larry Harold Show is sponsored by the Copper Pig, Advanced Rehab, Pristine Water, Bruce Kennedy Tire, and by Sinorama. And now joining us, the head coach of the Brunswick High School Pirates, Coach Larry Harold.
How's it going, Kipp?
Doing fine, Coach. Doing fine. We're coming off a tough one down in Camden County last week, where we got down 40-3, 34-3 at halftime, got down 40-3, and then the lights came on for this young Pirate squad. Talk about how you felt coming out of that ball game, knowing that we were able to come back and put a lot of points on the board in the fourth quarter to make Camden have to recover a couple of onside kicks to secure that ball game.
First of all, I feel really proud of my coaches and my kids for hanging in there. I really felt like the halftime was the breaking point of our season. And I told them at point blank that, this season goes one or two ways. If we going forward to 10, I feel like it'll be a continued downward spiral. And, it could end up being not the season that we want. Or we can go out here and fight and show a little bit of life and get some confidence. And when I tell you at the end of that game, it doesn't matter what nobody else thinks or nobody else says about our program right now. Our kids were so elated and jacked up. And we don't like moral victories, but we needed that in any kind of way, because at halftime it was real bleak. And they were excited, they were happy. And the first thing they said was, "Coach, let's go to work on Monday. Everybody come in, let's go to work on Monday." So, for them to have that attitude and that mantra, I was happy and proud of them, because really at halftime, if they would have folded the tent, nobody would have said anything about it. But just to show that grit and that fight to come back, within an onside kick was 41 seconds left. It's phenomenal. It speaks volumes to those kids. It just showed them that if you buy into what we're selling, our scheme, our approach, and what we're teaching you, you can be successful. So we had a great week of practice because of it, spirited, and again, we got some momentum. That's what football's all about, Kipp. It's about confidence. And these young 14, 15-year-old kids, that's all it needs, a little bit of confidence. We know we have the young, uncultivated talent. We just need a little confidence to go along with it.
This is the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Larry Harold on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Coach, after that game Friday night, when we were doing the handshakes, when our kids got through shaking hands, they ran off that football field, even after a loss. Thinking back Friday night, just replaying everything in your mind, that really stood out to me, how they came and found you down at the other end of the field for that team meeting. And you mentioned earlier this week that they said, "Coach, we need to start listening to you more," and things like that. It sounds like the lights came on and the kids, I counted the roster the other day. I counted 12 or 13 sophomores, Coach, that played, maybe even more. I lost count, but that many sophomores playing and logging all this varsity action against quality football teams. We're 1-2, but the two losses have been to top 10 football teams, and we're playing all these young kids, and they're only going to get better.
Exactly, and that's what I said. We keep stressing how young we are, but the good thing about a sophomore is one day he'll be a junior, one day a freshman will be a sophomore, one day a junior will be a senior. So we have a real small senior class. We have great numbers in our freshman through junior classes, and we're just going to continue to cultivate that talent. When you look at the roster, you see kids, you have three guys are often that sophomores that got, a lot of talent. Demery, Smith, Sean Smith, and the quarterback, Journeyman. The rest of the guys have never played before. They got spot duty. So we're basically, when they say, well, Camden put in their second team, well, we're out there playing with a basically JV team ourselves. So, it's only going to get better. And the thing that we're noticing, my defense coordinator, Coach Williams, put it best. He said, "Coach, our kids right now have performance anxiety." And by that, he meant through practice, those 2 weeks of practice, I felt so good going to the Camden game because I felt like, they knew the plan, they understood it. And then what's happening is we go out there and you see the other team in uniforms, how big they are. You see the crowd, the lights. Our kids kind of, that deer in the headlight syndrome. And it's to be expected when you're dealing with, again, 14, 15-year-old kids playing varsity level. But the more they get to play, the more they get confidence, the more they get that swagger that we're talking about, the more settled they can be. Games will become like practice to them, and we'll get better results because of it.
Well, looking at the schedule moving forward, we will not play a better football team this regular season than we played last Friday night. I believe that. So we played those guys to the wire. They had to recover. I had a lot of pride sitting up there broadcasting the game on 107.7 to Fox. And for Camden have to come out and have to put their hands team on the field with 41 seconds left in the football game and recover an onside kick. And there was stretches in that football game where I looked at our offense on the field and we did not have a senior on the field. Yeah. And that means all those kids are coming back next year. And, we had a couple of defensive touchdowns, but 32 points on that kind of football team. I mean, you got to be proud.
Yeah, real proud. Like I said, it shows the explosiveness of our young athletes and just what we really can do. If you go back to the first quarter, though, I was really proud of how our offense came out. We stressed, come out fast. And we came out with a little wrinkle formation, got the ball to our playmaker, Sean Smith, I think maybe 4 or 5 times in a row. Ran to start out the game 6-6 passing. And we were able to go down. They nullified a touchdown with a holding call. We were still able to get, young Mitch Finner in a 37-yard field goal. So we felt good about that. So we were able to move the ball consistently against their first teamers. In the second half, again, we scored, I think, two more touchdowns. So, we were able to move the ball against them, and we can only build upon that. And with this new system, Randy being able to read the coverages better, knowing where the receivers are going to be. Our offensive line, we shuffled it a little bit. We talked earlier this Monday about how we started a true freshman at right tackle. He's going to be good. The thing I stressed to him is I said, man, when we get you in the offseason, get this weight room in you, boy, you're going to be unreal. So we got a 6'6" tackle and a 6'4" tackle that's a freshman. So I'm excited. I'm elated. They move very well. And as we build that continuity, it's only going to get better.
I think you mentioned earlier in the week that freshman right tackle, Warren McClendon Jr., graded out well over 70% against that defensive front. 70%. I mean, for his first outing. And like I told him, I felt like he was throwing he was throwing to the wolves. And just really, really seeing him perform. But Warren comes from a great lineage. I mean, his dad was a great athlete. All his uncles, the McClendons are great athletes. So the more his body matures, and the thing about it is he's so smart. Camden has a moving defense, and he was able to sort out, who was coming, who wasn't coming. And once that game slows down to him, with Demery on the other side, we got, Kano at guard now. Ty Henson is just a sophomore at our center. And our only senior is Chad, excuse me, I lost Chad's last name. But Chad Matthews, that's right, my boy Chad. And we have other young guys behind her that be able to fill in. I mean, you got 4 of those 5 guys that be coming back next year. It's exciting, man. It's exciting for me as a coach. More to come on the Coach Larry Harold Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Right now, these words from our sponsors. Take about a 3-minute break.
Best barbecue and smokehouse in Glenn County? The Copper Pig. Located at 704 Mall Boulevard. Local meat and produce markets, live gators for the kiddos to feed, mechanical pig, a $1.99 drink menu, and so much more. From barbecue to steak, you won't find it any better than at the Copper Pig. 912-289-9880. The Copper Pig is your proud home for the Larry Harold Coaches Show all season long. Thursday nights at 6 p.m. and go Pirates! That back won't stop aching or that knee won't stop throbbing? Your answer is Advanced Rehabilitation and their staff of professionals. Locations in Brunswick and on St. Simons for your convenience. Go to the place that is trusted by student athletes all over the Golden Isles as well as professional athletes. Advanced Rehabilitation specializes in neuro and orthopedics and will have you back in the game in no time. Find a clinic near you, physicaltherapygeorgia.com. Bruce Kennedy Tire is your hometown destination for tires. Michelin, Goodyear, and all the brands you trust. But don't let the name fool you. Bruce Kennedy Tire, located at 2928 Norwich Street, does more than just tires. Brakes, alignments, repair work, and more than I can mention. Bruce Kennedy is locally owned and operated, so you get the best service in Glenn County. So give Bruce a call at 912-264-6578. Bruce Kennedy Tire, a name you can trust.
Welcome back to the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Larry Harold on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm Kipp Branch on location from the Copper Pig. This segment brought to you by the Copper Pig, Advanced Rehab, and Bruce Kennedy Tire. Coach, we had some big defensive plays. I mean, Camden scored 40 points, but, they scored that on just about everybody that they played. Talk about Jeremy Small and that 90-yard scoop and score, fumble return for a touchdown, and talk about the Najee Gamage's 50-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. That really got us going on the sidelines.
Yeah, Jeremy's play, one of the play, they were driving down the field, and we were trying to stop him, and we tackled a running back, and the other defensive lineman, Red Jess, came in and stripped it. I mean, it popped right into Jeremy's arm, and he began to take. Nobody knew he had the ball. Until he's about 40 yards away because he's so slow. But he's doing a great job inside. He's playing with his hands, and because he was pursuing down the line like Coach taught him, he was right there when that ball popped in the air. So it was a good, big play for us. And you need stuff like that to happen. Football bounces different ways, and it hasn't been bouncing our way the last couple of weeks, and we sure needed that one. The Gamage fumble, the fullback, we put a little hat on him, he dropped it. And Najee, one thing about our defense that we work on, we call it Turnover Tuesday, is we work on stripping, picking, scooping and scoring, and then our blockers become, our defense got to become immediate blockers, and they escort them up the sideline. Najee, of course, is one of our defensive backs from that championship team, Coach Turner State Championship basketball team. He's a junior. He started to turn into a great leader. He scored that ball, and he even broke a tackle at the end. It just goes, again, to show you what kind of athletes we do have. Last year, he played linebacker, but he didn't play very much. Played more in junior varsity than in varsity. Now he's playing safety where he can use his athleticism and size. And we just feel like, as the season progresses, he's going to get better at that position. And then next year, he'll be able to be, hopefully an all-state kid, all-state, all-American kid.
Let's go through a little bit of the position groups from last Friday. Wide receivers, I thought they played really well last Friday. Sean Smith had 10 catches. As a group, we caught a lot of balls, and a big improvement from the first couple of games.
Yeah, and we actually left some plays out there. There were some things out there that we were doing where we were supposed to go to other receivers that were open, but again, just sitting down with the quarterback and receivers and training our eyes on what the defense was giving us, and just getting our kids to trust in the game plan more. What I was proud of is when we threw those quick screens is you got to get good blocks for those receivers, and they did a great job of staying in front of kids that were 5'11", 6 feet tall, 190, 200 pounds. They were thicker than us, and I just feel like when we get bigger and stronger that weight, we're going to be able to sustain those boxes better. But I was proud of their fight. We had a sophomore, DJ Whitfield, out there who's nothing more than about 5'9", 5'10", $160, trying to block a corner that's 190. So, it's just a little thing like that, but it's the fighting and grit that I love that, is going to help us down the road.
You're listening to the Larry Harold Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Coach, talk a little bit about your running back. Shaq Robinson, to me, looks like he's developing into a fine running back. 14 carries last week, close to 50 yards. Gave us a little bit of spark in the first half, getting some of those tough yards up the middle. Ran it really hard a few plays in the second quarter up the middle and got a first down on a third and long play one time when we were deep in our territory in the second quarter. Talk a little bit about his development as a running back and that group in general.
He's one that he really wants to please. He texts me on the weekend after every play, Coach, how did I do? Coach, what did I do wrong? and you love coaching kids like that want to get better, and they're so anxious to please. But what he's doing is gaining more and more confidence each and every day, each and every week. We got a chance to play Ben McLeod. He ran the ball extremely hard. I think he carried the ball 4 times for maybe 10, 15 yards. One run was on our huddle clip. I said it was the best block and best zone block we've done all year, and he hit it on up there. Tyler Grant got to get the ball on the 1 yard line coming out. So again, we're still meshing this thing together. We visualize where we get those 3 backs going. It's going to be real hard with our new offensive line where we can get those guys rolling in and out. To tackle fresh backs in the 4th quarter is going to be extremely hard. That's what we're trying to develop here.
And a recurring theme so far, all 3 of those backs are 10th graders.
Sophomore, that's a recurring theme. You're right.
Man, I can't remember this many sophomores playing for Brunswick High, but they're quality players. And I've heard an old adage one time, if you've got equal talent between young kids and older kids, always go with the younger kids because you have them longer.
And they're going to be with you the longest. And I tell them if it's even, 1 or 2 centimeters, the senior's only better. If it's that close of a margin, you got to roll with the young kid. And, it's fun coaching these kids. Like I said, they don't have any bad habits. And the more they get, our style of coaching, our philosophy, and even hearing them talk, they start to talk our language. They start to talk football language. They start to talk about 3 techniques, 0 techniques. Start to talk about sky coverage and combo and screw and all that stuff like that. So, just getting our language and our terminology down is a big part of it. And they're learning how to watch film and what to watch for. We watched some more Effingham film today during the weight room session, and they're able to pick out, okay, they're running a 4-3 defense with a, 4-man shell, and, what routes we like against that, and what runs we like against. So it's just exciting, man, that they're locked in like this, and, like I said, they're piggybacking off their second half, and that's what you hope as a coach, is that you use some motivation to get these kids focused and confidence, ready to go moving forward.
Your quarterback, Randon Jernigan, he had another outstanding night, 16 for 22 passing. You've said recently his completion percentage for the year is pushing right at 70%. Had another fine night running the football. Just talk a little bit about how he's continuing to develop into the type of player you're looking for.
My thing is when he gets to the point, again, he was 70% on Friday, 69% on the year. I mean, that's phenomenal for a first-year quarterback under our system. I've never had that. And just when we get to develop that intermediate game, because what I try to explain, he's so fast. I don't know if you saw that last touchdown that he ran, but that was the starting defense that was out there. And when he zips by the starting linebacker, he misses and runs out of bounds. The kid is literally banging his head like in frustration because he couldn't get there. And Rand is really not running that hard. He's gliding in the end zone. And I'm telling him that his speed is such a weapon that, linebackers are not going to drop as deep. Defensive linemen aren't going to rush as hard. And what's going to happen is, if we can develop that intermediate to short passing game, it's going to open up things a lot for us. And if he can kill him with his arm, it's going to make our offense that much dangerous. Like I said, to have a quarterback that's a dual threat like that with that type of speed and that type of arm, you saw him in the Glen game, throw that vertical route, on point. I mean, he has the arm strength, the arm talent, and that's what we're trying to cultivate within him.
We will be right back on the Larry Harold Coaches Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Now these words from our sponsors.
Your go-to for your business's sign, Signorama, located at 5701 Altama, has everything you need. Flyers, business cards, banners, wraps, decals, lettering, displays, and so much more. 912-265-6463 or online at www.signorama.com. Locally owned and operated, Signorama is a proud supporter of Glenn County Athletics, and let's go Pirates! Pristine Water is your destination for pools, spas, and pool supplies. From installation to maintenance, Pristine Water is your best choice in all of Southeast Georgia for your next pool or spa. Give Pristine Water a call at 912-264-9233 for a free estimate, or stop on in at 166 Key Circle Drive, or check Pristine Water out online at pristinewaterandpools.com. And go Pirates!
Welcome back to the Brunswick High Pirates Coaches Show with head coach Larry Harrell on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm Kipp Branch on location at the Copper Pig. This segment is brought to you by Pristine Water and Sinorama. Coach, going through these position groups, defensive line, how do you rate their performance last week?
We thought they actually played pretty well. I think we give them about a C minus. They did what they were supposed to do. We felt like our linebackers and our secondary didn't tackle well in the first quarter. That's where it hurt. Against wing team, power running team, we have certain run fits. You can't get out of the gap or they're going to gas you. And when we were there in those gaps, we just totally blew tackles in. So they let us down in a huge way. But we thought the D-line performed admirably. We moved some guys around. Jeremy Small is playing inside. He's more of an advantage. Jeremy played middle linebacker last year. And the first thing we do when we get an excessive program is we want speed. So we felt like he was an advantage at linebacker. So we moved him down to D-line. He's performing well. He moves well. He's athletic down there. And of course, we put our speed guy. Sherrod Frazier, our young sophomore, had a real rough night. But the thing we try to coach him is to, don't get down on yourself next play. And he's going to get better. Cam Futch, is maturing as a great linebacker for us. We're excited. But like I said, we got to, to compete against the Camden County team, we got to be more physical. We got to be bigger. We got to get stronger in that weight room. And we got to be able to bang with a team like that. Those kids, you can tell, they eat, they lift, and they're totally bought into what they're doing. And when you can run out 2 and 3 guys and they all look the same, that's pretty intimidating. So, they take one 6 foot, 215 guy out, they bring in another 6'1", 200-pound guy. And after that is a, 5'11", 220-pound guy. So, that's the type of program we want to build. But we got to get in that weight room and continue to build our strength and our conditioning and just continue to eat healthy. We had a nutritionist that came in from the school system, told them about the proper foods to eat and different stuff like that. And Celine McMillan, our cafeteria lady, she does a great job. She feeds the boys every day, brings them peanut butter jelly, bananas, everything. And that's a huge benefit that I didn't have in my last school. And I can tell the difference in a shaking guy. And if we get that for a whole calendar year, my God, we're going to be so much better next year. So that's the kind of stuff you got to have. When you win, it's not just about the coaches and the football team. It's about the administration, the food nutrition people. It's about everybody and their part in it to help us achieve excellence.
Coach, special teams last week, we looked good in a couple of areas, and a couple of areas I know that you weren't too pleased with.
Yeah, our spread punt, we worked that tremendously. And people say, why are you doing a spread punt? Well, if you watch, college, the reason why you go to a spread punt is if you got a kicker that has great hang time and you can go to a tighter punt, our kicker can kick far, but he doesn't have great hang time. So what that means is if you kick the ball on the line drive, the guy has a quick chance to get the ball, get his block set up quicker, and we don't get down there as fast as we would like. So we try to spread them out so they get a chance to get down there faster. And we had some protection breakdowns, and we had 2 block punts, which I was proud we didn't turn the ball over often, but to me, the 2 block punts were actually just like turnover. We talked about that earlier in the week, so we got to get that corrected. Again, just working on some technique type things, and it's going to get better as the road comes. And but those cover teams, they got to be good. I thought, our field goal unit, we corrected, the block punt that we had against Glenn, kicked the field goal. We were 3 for 3 on extra points. Our kickoff team did what they were supposed to do. Our kickoff team, probably about a D just because, we weren't getting to the wall where we had set up. So, we got some things to work on. We corrected them, but each and every week it's a new challenge, and we're trying to get better.
This is the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Larry Harrell on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Coach, non-region games are over now. From here on out, it's all region tomorrow night. We load up on the bus and we drive up to Springfield, Georgia, and play the Effingham County Rebels, a team that we've had some pretty good success against here lately. But anytime you get on a bus and drive 90 miles, all bets are off. And they look like they have a pretty good football team. Talk a little bit about Effingham County and the challenges that they pose for us tomorrow night in Springfield.
Well, one, we're going on the road in a hostile environment. They just lost a tough, city championship of their own, so they're going to be hungry for the victory. They have a big quarterback. I mean, he's about 6'3", 6'4". He was a starter last year. He has a strong arm. He's agile, and he's their whole offense. They run the zone read. He'll pull it. If he passing, he can break, contain, and throw the ball downfield. So we're really working on, maintaining lane integrity. Not rushing too far upfield, allow them out, or not losing contain. And then on the defense side of the ball, they have some speed in the secondary. Their linebackers move very well. We have to get those guys blocked. And we feel like, we match up pretty well, but just going on the road in that type of environment, like I said, I told my guys that, we can't go 0-2 in the region. We already started 0-1. We lost to Glenn. We cannot start out 0-2. That would be, too big of a hole to dig out of. So we just got to go in, focus, execute the game plan early on. Let's not wait to the second half to wake up and try to execute. Let's go out as soon as we get off the bus and try to, execute the game plan that the coaches have in place.
How do we match up with those guys speed-wise? I mean, we've given them problems in the past with our speed. They've been a little bit bigger. Apparently, based upon the film and stuff, they're a lot smaller this year and a little more quick, a little more agile and quicker. And just talk a little bit about how we match up. How do our skilled people match up with those skilled people?
Well, I think that might be one advantage that we have. It's not going to be very many teams that we're going to face where, a team will have an advantage over speed-wise. We feel like, we'll be one of the more faster teams that they've played in all season. I think the only team that's comparable would be at Liberty. They play Liberty, and Liberty has some athletes like we do. So we feel like we match up pretty well. And again, we'll try to, keep contained on the quarterback, use our length in the secondary to try to contest every pass that he throws. Offense, of course, we try to get our athletes in space and try to, use our run game to keep that high-powered offensive there off the field.
So it's going to be a challenge tomorrow night in Springfield. Coach, talk a little bit about what we're facing now in this region slate. I know you break the season up into parts, and now, the rest of September, next 3 weeks, we've got 3 region games that, we've got to play well in. Then we got the bye week, and then we go into that final stretch. Just talk about starting with Effingham. I hate to say the word must win, but I feel like tomorrow night's a must win for the Pirates.
It's definitely a must win. Again, you don't want to go down 0-2 in the region if you have any aspirations of making the playoffs. So we know, what's at stake. The kids know what's at stake. And, we feel confident in the fact of, one thing you talked about the other day is when you play tough opponents, it gets you ready for the tough region that we play in. And we feel like, playing Glenn, we played Wayne, and we played Camden. We played some of the top teams in Georgia. You can see the run that Wayne is going on. Camden and Glenn are both ranked. So, we play some tough teams, and we feel like we're up to the task to go on the road and take on, our first region foe. So, of course, you break down the schedule, but right now, we need a win, and that's the only thing we're focused on right now. Nothing else matters. Is going up to Springfield and trying to get this W for the Brunswick Pirates.
Coach, last question of the night. I was reading the article the other day. I think it was from Ohio State, and they were talking about when they go out and recruit young men, they look and see what kind of other extracurricular sports that they play, and if they can see that a kid's a good football player, but if he's a good basketball player, a good baseball player, or just any other sport, they tend to kind of recruit those kids more than the one sport athletes. Is that something that you hear from recruiters that come in and recruit your kids?
All the time. And right now, when we talk about Skylar Bass, one of the first things I mention all the time is that he was on the All-State basketball team. Well, as a DB, you know that if he, is 6'3", 180 pounds, he has great leaping ability. He's athletic. I talk about how the first time I met him, I saw him catch the ball off a rim and dunk on top of a guy. So that athleticism is going to, translate well. we got a big lineman like Jabari Williams that plays basketball on a team like that. You know that he has great feet. So just the hand-eye coordination, different things like that. As far as baseball, hand-eye coordination, Brandon Jernigan plays baseball. With the speed he has, he can steal bases. So, being well-rounded lets a college athlete know that he can adapt easily in and out of different seasons. That means he's a quick learner as well. So he can translate his skills from one sport to another, which means he's well-rounded and can adapt very well to whatever scheme or system he may have to adapt to once he gets to college.
Well, Coach, this is the ending of the show tonight, and I just want to wish you good luck tomorrow night in Effingham County. Anything you want to say to our fans as they get ready to probably listen to this show tonight and get ready to head to Springfield tomorrow?
Yeah, well, we're going into a tougher environment. Don't take, what's happened in the past to just say, we're going to go and do well, but we're going to need all hands on deck. Everybody's a part of this. Come on out and root these boys on the victory. I mean, they've had a tough, last two games, and we really need to get this one. Let's cheer our boys on the victory. Get behind our coaches, our staff, and our community. Let's root the Brunswick Pirates on to victory Friday night. And as I always say, go Pirates.
Thanks for joining us for the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Larry Harold on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Come out to the Copper Pig next Thursday night at 6 for the Larry Harold Show. I'm Kipp signing off. Go Pirates.